Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gorman on Target, a program that is dedicated to firearms safety, education, and training. It is brought to you by the Wilson Hill Pistol Club of Manchester, New Hampshire. Manchester's greatest little secret, actually. A lot of folks do not even know that we have a live firing range here in the city down by Massapequa Lake, but we do. And I'll be telling you a little bit more about that as we get into the show and proceed on down the line here a little bit. But before we get in there, I want to introduce my guest for this evening and let her introduce Judy Waldron.
Thank you.
Yes, Judy. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You look like you're about ready to go into root canal.
I'm a little out of my comfort zone here.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We'll bring you right here into the comfort zone. You're going to have a good time by the time we get finished here, for sure.
All righty.
So that's really good. So, Judy, what we want to talk about here tonight, we really wanted to focus in on Law Day because you went to a Law Day class and experienced that firsthand. But before we get there, tell us a little bit about yourself. Do you shoot? I know where you work, but tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I work at Wildlife Taxidermy and Sports Center on the Massapequa Circle in Manchester. I work mostly in the office, doing bookkeeping and purchasing and so forth, but I do also cover cashiering on the floor a couple of days a week when needed. I do shoot, but I am very, very new at it. Just purchased my first firearm a couple of years ago. Since then, I've purchased a couple of more and love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, there we go.
But also have always felt that I really needed to learn the safety of the tool that I was using and to know the laws of what you can do and what you can't do, and it's very, very important.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We have a variety of classes down there at Wilson Hill, and it sounds to me, without going into a lot of detail here, that you would be really ready for a basic pistol class.
I did take the basic pistol.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
You didn't take it from me.
I didn't take it from you. It was from somebody different. I didn't know you yet.
Oh, okay. In that case, you're forgiven.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. But just to explain, basic pistol is really where a lot of people should start. Even if they've been shooting when they were a kid and, Uncle Harry took them out back of the barn and all that sort of stuff. Dad was a hunter, grew up with guns, etc. But when you get the official training, it's a little bit different.
Yes.
And basic pistol gives you that structure. I always tell my students, when you complete basic pistol, you're confident with it. You know how to handle it, how to store it, how to transport it.
Exactly.
What do you do if it jams, if it goes click, how do you clear these problems up with the firearm in a safe way?
Right.
So when we get through with that class, people feel very, very, very confident. And the thing I love about it is you can take that foundation and go anywhere in the shooting world. You can go into competitive shooting, you can go into Western shoots, you can go, you name it. You can move right on through that. Each having its own discipline, of course.
Right.
But there's the foundation.
Right.
That's what you're building on.
Right.
And you've got that under your belt.
Yes, I do.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Now, the Law Day thing, though, I'm kind of interested in what you. I want to go through this whole Law Day from the perspective of the poor innocent person who walks in saying, "Hey, I really ought to know the law, so I'll sign up for your class." And oh my heavens, I had no idea.
Yes, exactly.
So tell us all about it. What was it like? What piqued your interest to take it to start with?
Well, it was something that I had taken the basic pistol course at Wilson Hill.
Right.
And it was something that was brought to my attention from there. And given that I work on Saturdays, it was very difficult for me to get that time.
Sure.
When you started coming in to do the classes at the store, it offered me the perfect opportunity to be able to go upstairs for a couple of hours and take the class. So I got lucky in that respect, I guess. So that's what got me interested in it, as far as really wanting to take it. And I knew it was something that, as a gun owner, period, you should take this class. Whether you're a new gun owner or you've had guns for years, it's important to know what the laws are, because there's a lot of things. Working in a gun shop, you hear the chatter, and everybody thinks they know what they can do when they can do it. And the truth of the matter is, you really don't until you take that class and you learn.
Yeah, I would say the vast majority of people that come into that class have some kind of a foggy idea about what the law is.
Right.
And what we try to do there is sweep away the fog and find out definitely where this line is. This is legal, this is illegal. It's a definite line. That you should not cross. So we try to clear up a lot of the myths, the stories. My uncle told me this, and he was a police chief. Okay, fine. When was it police chief? Back in '72. Guess what? The laws have changed. Really? Yeah, I wouldn't kid you. So the people who come in there usually have a very open mind. I love it because they come in because they want to learn.
Right.
They really would like to get firsthand information on this thing. So let's go to the class day itself. So there you are. The opportunity is to go upstairs, and it's right there in your shop, and the commuting time has been reduced to 0. And how many people were there? Do you remember?
We had a couple of latecomers, so there were 8 people, 7 or 8 people.
Yeah, 7 or 8, yeah, including the latecomers.
Yes, including the latecomers, yes.
So anyway, then what happened? So tell us a little bit about it, because I want to hear this from your perspective.
After seeing me live through it.
After watching you live through it. I love the pie plate eyes.
Well, it was to say it was eye-opening, it's cliche, but it's true. I mean, it first starts out with yourself, and there was a sheriff's officer there with you. And just hearing what you had to say, kind of starting the class, and very basics of what we're going to be learning and so forth. What I didn't anticipate was the actual scenarios that we were going to act out. And of course, you had me do one of them in the shop, which is where I am and where I live 5 days a week. It was very, very real to me to be put in a situation of having someone come at you, and what can you do, what can't you do, when should you do what you can do, and so forth. And it really hit home with me. I mean, it was very personal to me. My house, basically, you know. As you saw when you were coming at me with the rubber knife.
With the rubber knife. I have the rubber knife.
And but yeah, it was frightening. It was frightening, eye-opening, very eye-opening.
Your eyes were open, all right. There was 2 big pie plates right about here, like my God.
It was very real.
Let me fill in the folks, because they're probably sitting there scratching their head, looking and saying, "What in the name are they talking about? Rubber knives and scared to death and all this doesn't make any sense." But the scenario, what we do is a series of scenarios in which you could find yourself. And what we're trying to get across there is, what can you do legally in a situation where you are physically threatened to the point of grave bodily harm and or life. So we cut right down to that level. This particular scenario is set up. We set the whole thing up so that everybody knows what we're going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, we picked on Judy because she just had that look about her that she wanted to.
Yeah.
And basically what we did is we put her upstairs in a room, quote, her bedroom at home, in the corner, no way to get out. I was coming up the stairs and I had the rubber knife.
Mm-hmm.
Dum, 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 dum. And we had told the class and yourself ahead of time, I am coming up to kill you. I'm not coming up to argue or maybe or threaten you. Or I'm coming up to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
There is a mock gun, a training gun, laying on the table within reach of you.
Mm-hmm.
And the statement was a simple statement. If and when you think you need to, pick up the gun and shoot me. What happened?
I didn't pick it up soon enough the first time.
Get stabbed, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I think we went through it numerous times, and even the second time, I had the gun, but I wasn't shooting.
That's right.
Yet. I was telling you to stop or I'll shoot. By the time I shot, the momentum of you just coming at me,
Right.
You could have been dead.
Yep.
I probably would have been as well.
Yep.
That was very eye-opening.
That was
Yes.
the part that got you.
Yes,
huh?
yes, exactly.
One of the things that we emphasize in that particular scenario is the law says you can protect your life or a third person, your child, if you are in imminent danger of grave bodily harm or death.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody draws a line on the floor. This is imminent.
Right.
So what was going through your mind the first couple of times that you ended up getting stabbed? I mean, wow.
It was...
You had a gun, I had a knife.
Yeah, it makes you realize that you really have to be very present in what's happening at that point. Very present. You need to be prepared for it. And I think the only way that can happen is by becoming educated about the situation, not just through the law day class, but through which the next thing I wanted to take with you is personal protection within the home and personal protection outside of the home.
Sure.
To become educated and be able to react to those situations.
Sure.
Having never been in that situation, you don't really know what to do, especially being a new gun owner and not being completely comfortable with my firearm yet. I shoot it. I'm comfortable shooting it. I'm not comfortable shooting it anywhere other than in a very controlled environment.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, makes sense.
But if I'm owning it for the reason that I bought it, which is for protection, I need to learn how to use it properly. Yeah. Law Day was part of that, to know when you can react to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is probably the most dramatic scenario that we have. And it is designed and aimed specifically at the person who says, if I was accosted and my life was in danger and I was armed, I would shoot the person. Oh, really?
I don't think you really know until you're in that kind of situation. Yeah.
You had a, if you will, a toy gun.
Yes.
I had a rubber knife.
Yes.
And the opportunity was for you to pick up the pistol anytime you wanted and shoot me because your life was threatened. We had already established that. No question about it. You had no way to retreat. No question. The only option you had was to shoot. Yet you got stabbed. And we had to rerun it again.
Exactly.
You managed to get the gun up, but you didn't shoot.
Exactly. I think the third time I finally got it at the right time.
Right time, which was when my foot was on the top step.
As soon as I could see you.
Yeah.
As soon as I could see you was when I knew I could do it. Didn't know prior to that, though.
Right.
You know, afraid to use too much force.
Right.
Especially after we had had a conversation earlier about equal force.
Right.
When is it okay to use your gun? When is it not okay to use your gun?
Right.
So that whole thing's going through your head at the same time. is this okay? When is it okay?
Right.
You know, that's all part of the learning process. So
it
yeah,
is. It definitely is. And
Yep.
we set these different scenarios up to emphasize different points in the law.
Right.
And we also carry what I consider the lighter part of the law, which is licensing.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you apply? How long is it good for? What does it cost? What are the required? Do I need fingerprints? Do I need photos? So on and so on and so forth. And we cover quite a section of that because that's where most people are going to fall. Somebody goes into your store who's never bought a gun and they're buying their gun for the first time. Naturally, I would assume that you're going to say you should get a license, and you need to be able to say you get it at the local police station in your town. Fill out the application, give it back to the police officer. There's 3 lines there for references. So you fill in a reference, 3 of them. They process it. It has to be returned in 14 days. That's days. That doesn't, not weekends, and 14 days. And if it's denied for any reason, it has to be denied in writing. Okay. But within those 14 days, when it's ready, they'll either, some jurisdictions deliver it to your home. They do that in my town quite a bit. Some jurisdictions, you go down and you pick it up, whatever. And do you remember how long it's good for?
Test me again. I know, 4 years from
4
your
years.
birthday.
Yeah, absolutely, right. 4 years from your birthday.
Yes. See, I did learn something.
You did learn something, no question about it. Yeah, see, there you go, bingo, right on. And you didn't know I was going to ask that question.
No, I did not. I
No,
totally did not.
Yeah. Okay. So what else besides the life-threatening knife and gun fight in the bedroom? What else did kind of get your attention? We held up the 7-Eleven store. We had the carjacking.
Yep.
We had a couple of good things.
Had a couple of good scenarios. Yes. It was interesting. One of the other scenarios was when you had one of the other students in her bedroom and her ex was banging on the bedroom door. And
banging on the bedroom.
He was banging very hard.
He was going
beating.
to kick the door in.
Yeah, he was
Right,
threatening to kick the door in and to kill her and so forth. Yeah. But he was not armed. And it was your initial reaction is, well, he's not armed, she can't shoot him. But she could through the door because of what he was saying and the threat that she felt. That was another learning. And again, it was a lot of curveballs, which to me, I think when you throw that kind of stuff in, it really it sinks in more because it causes you to think about, well, a half an hour ago, they're saying you have to use equal force. And if it's fists, it's fists. You can't just pull a gun out because somebody slaps you. You know,
oh, right. Yeah.
That type of thing. So when you get the curveball like this, it's okay. This is a different situation. It's not what we learned earlier.
Right.
That one really hit me. I think the thing that hit me the most was having the officer there and talking about should you actually have to shoot somebody and what the reaction is after that and how you think you might feel versus how you're really going to feel and what happens from that point forward and what you should do at that point. That was very eye-opening to hear all of that. And again, I don't think you can know how you're going to react until it happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how it feels, regardless of whether you're protecting your own life or not, you've still shot another human being.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
If the big problem there is you have people watching TV and movies and this and that and the other thing, and oh, here comes the bad guy, bang, 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 I took care of him, that's the end of that. And reality is so different.
Yes.
So very, very different. The aftermath, do you remember what Ernie said? Oh, by the way, Ernie is he is a training officer for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department.
Right.
Great guy, known him for quite a years. he's taken some of my classes. I've taken some of his, and assisted him in others. And when we're not talking guns, we're talking airplanes. So we really get along real well. No problem there. I kind of love it. But he's looking at it from the law enforcement side of the thing. And it gets very interesting when you look at what law enforcement is taught in a real shooting situation. Now, you're going to assume that the basics is it was a legitimate shooting. And the law enforcement officer, at whatever wins a gunfight. And very interesting what goes on mentally after that.
Yes.
Do you remember his story by any chance?
The one that he told about almost having to pull the trigger?
Yep.
Yes. He was in a situation where there was somebody in his sights. And this particular person, they found out later, was trying to commit suicide by police officer.
Sure.
Being shot by a police officer. And he was ready to shoot, and at the last possible second, the person moved out of his sight, so he didn't. And he went back to the station, wrote up all his papers, no problem, same day, great, finish up your work. And when he got home, he went to put his key in the lock, and his hand was shaking so hard that he couldn't get the key in the lock.
Yeah.
And he didn't even shoot the guy.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
But the reality of it hit.
And he is a trained police officer. Over and above that, he is a training officer.
Right.
So his situation, you boil that all down to Joe Citizen.
Right.
Wow. This is not the movies, folks. This is not TV. This is reality, and it's some heavy-duty stuff. Yeah, he did explain that whole story to the class. I had heard it before, but to the new beginner, which is what was your impression of that story?
That's not what I expected. It's not what you expect from a law enforcement officer. It's because we've been, I don't know if brainwashed is the right word, but we've been trained by what we're seeing in the movies and on TV and so forth.
Yeah.
Because we don't live out in the streets, most of us, of reality and see how this all happens. And I think unless even if you're personally involved with an officer, I don't know that they take all of that home anyways. I don't know that you can ever really know it. To hear what they actually have to go through when this happens, what they psychologically go through, I guess you just think that they know they have to kill people. I'm a police officer. I'm going to have to kill people. It's part of the job, but that's not the case at all.
Oh gosh, no.
It's not the case at all.
Oh,
It
no.
was emotional. I mean, you felt it. You really felt what he went through that day.
And he was just telling the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
did feel it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, the TV movies, that whole scenario part there, it really does a lot of disservice to people who are serious about shooting and serious about carrying firearms and things
agree.
of that nature.
I agree.
My reaction to the whole thing is the people. I'm going to the outside the home class now, where for whatever reason a person decides that they legitimately need to carry a firearm for whatever reason on their person. I always explain right in the beginning of the class, if you are going to be armed, you are going to be the most gentle, docile, polite, nice person in the world. Yes, you may have my parking spot. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spill your drink. Let me buy you 3 more. The last thing in the world that you're going to be doing, if you're carrying a firearm, is to be in any kind of a situation that just might escalate.
Right. Right.
So that's one of the foundation thoughts that we try to put in people's minds when they legitimately decide that they have to carry. So, what were any of your last thoughts on this, Judy? Because we're coming to near the end of the show, but I mean, if you had to sum the whole thing up, what would you say?
The whole law day, it was extremely educational. It was more than I expected it would be. It's something that I think every gun owner should take. You should know. You should know the laws.
Good. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming down tonight, Judy. It was really, really good. It was fun having you. I pulled your chain a little bit here and there, and I'm good at that.
Yes, you are.
I've been accused of that before, but in a situation like this, it tends to make people feel a little more at home, a little more relaxed, and you don't have to be all uptight and all that stuff. Anyway, as we're winding down here, folks, at the end of the show, I just wanted to say that Wilson Hill Pistol Club is Manchester's greatest little secret. It's on the shores of Lake Massabesic. You can open the door, you can look out there and see the lake. It's that close. People sometimes say, how did you get a shooting range in the middle of a residential neighborhood? And the answer was 1937. It was a dirt path through the woods to get to it. So the neighborhood grew up around it. But we have very, very, very good working relationships with our neighbors. We respect their concerns. They, in turn, enjoy having us in the neighborhood, and they realize that what's going on there is very safe. It's not a threat in any way, shape, manner, or form. And we are taking applications for membership. A lot of the clubs are filled up, but ours is not. So if you're interested in joining, we'd love to have you down there. And in the meantime, this is Gorman on Target. Wishing you safe shooting and good night.